evening and welcome to the GITV Football Forecast Show. We're here with Buster Crumpton and I'm your host Chuck Wegman, and we're glad you could join us this evening. And Buster, coming off a disappointing loss last Friday night, Gladiators 0-2, haven't been in this position in a while, but really played some good opponents the first two games and like
came
you
out
said,
with
some experience.
Young guys, learning fast, and it's going to take more than just showing up with that C on your helmet. You're going to have to get out there and get after it. You're going to have to get after it for 4 quarters, and I think we'll see a new, fresh Clarke Central bunch come out for their first region game Friday. But a lot of positives in those 2 losses, a lot of things that we see that we got to work on, and it's just, like I said, a typical young team.
All right.
Yeah.
We're going to get right into it today, Buster, and kind of look at the 5A top 20, and we'll start out going backward from 20, of course. Glen Academy down in South Georgia around the Brunswick area is coming in at number 20 at 1-1. And, of course, the Gladiators coming in at 19, even at 0-2, so a little respect for the Gladiators.
Yeah, tough start for the Gladiators, but still getting a lot of respect from the posters.
Then the final 3 is Rome at 18, Stevenson at 17, and, of course, Southwest DeKalb at 15. Some big-name schools.
Right, and Southwest DeKalb, that graphic's not updated yet, but they lost to M.L. King on Saturday, so they're at 1-1 as well. And
then 15 through 11 is Northgate, another good ball club that's 0-2 also. Ware County at 1-1 at 14. Number 13 Bainbridge at 1-1, and then Cedar Shoals making the charts. Yeah. First time in a while, and good to see that they're coming in at 2-0 and sitting at number 12 in the state.
Yeah, had a real big victory at Elbert County. That's well deserving of Cedar.
And of course number 11 Allatoona. Also at 2-0, and then your top 10, and once again getting a lot of respect. Flowery Branch at 0-2 at number 10.
Yeah, when you play good teams and you play big guys like Northside Warner Robins and West Forsyth, you're going to get that kind of respect.
And of course, I talked to a good friend that's over at Flowery Branch this week, and he said, "Man, are they big, Northside Warner Robins?
Right?
Are they big, and are they talented?
Yeah, they look like a college team. I kid you not."
So number 9 is Heritage, also a region team at 2-0, and East Paulding at number 8 at 2-0. Kell 2-0 at number 7, and then number 6 Warner Robins comes in at 1-0.
Looks like they're off to another good start. Had a big 50-something point victory over Veterans. So.
And of course your top 5. Thomas County Central with the big win over the weekend over at Marist at 2-0, coming in at 5, and Gainesville getting the win over Buford after losing to West Forsyth at 1-1 at number 4. M.L. King at number 3 at 1-0, and Tucker at number 2, 2-0 start, and number 1 Northside Warner Robins with the big win over Flowery Branch, coming in at 2-0 to be number 1 in the state.
Yeah, and a lot of shuffling, a lot of juggling going on with those top 20 teams, Chuck, and we're going to see that week in and week out, especially with region play starting and a lot of these teams playing each other.
No doubt about it. And as you speak of region, let's go ahead and get into the region standings. Of course, sitting at top, Heritage and Cedar Shoals at both at 2-0. So Heritage coming in at number 1 and Cedar Shoals at number 2. And then we look at Gainesville and Loganville. So Gainesville at number 3 at 1-1, Loganville at 4 at 1-1, and Appalachia 1-1 start in the number 5 position, and number 6 position also Salem at a 1-1 start. And then the bottom 3, and it's kind of weird. Clarke Central coming in at number 7 at 0-2, and Flowery Branch at 8 at 0-2, and Winder Barrow 0-2, and that's really
based on non-region games. And don't panic too much yet, folks, because the Maxwell people still think that Heritage, Gainesville, Flowery Branch, and Clarke Central are the projected playoff teams from this region. So
yeah, no doubt. And but we got a long way to go and got 8 games to get it done. And so here we go. And Buster, it is strange though to look at that region and see Cedar Shoals or Clarke Central and and Flowery Branch down there at the bottom at 0-2 starts. But
Flowery Branch may be expected because they've got a new coach, but Cedar totally unexpected because they've got a new coach.
Yeah, but it's good to see Cedar back up there.
Yes, sir.
And that's a school in this region that we need to be in those top spots in this region, and glad to see that Cedar Shoals is new coach and new attitude over there, and
the new
plenty
unit
of talent.
Yeah.
So some area games, though, Buster, we want to talk about this week. Of course, Madison County, who used to be in our region, is opening up their region play, starting off at North Oconee. And North Oconee at 0-1, of course, got beat by
St. Pius
X last week and took a pretty good beating, but Madison County coming in at 2, and first meeting ever between these two.
Yeah, first ever meeting, but the crucial thing is both teams looking for that first win. So I think both teams will bring it. Madison County's giving up 30 points a game, though, and North Oconee, we've seen them in action. If they get that running back going and that quarterback going, that could spell some trouble for Madison County.
No doubt. And then another big game, of course, in the area, Commerce, another single-A power year in and year out, starting out at 2-0. But Banks County, which this is a big rivalry right there, not too far from each other, about 10 miles away, I think. And Banks County coming in at 1-1, traveling to Commerce to take on the Tigers.
Yeah, one's on the south side of Tanger, the other one's on the north side of Tanger. And the big thing here, though, Commerce leads that series 24-2. They've kind of had their way with the Leopards, I believe, who the Banks County people are.
That is correct. Yeah.
So be interested to see how that game plays out, Chuck.
All right. Also, of course, Oconee County is at home this week. They starting out 1-1, taking on Monroe area. Monroe area has really got that program turned around, coming in at 2-0.
Yeah, 108 points in 2 games. That's 50+. And Oconee, though, scoring 27 points per game. If Oconee's got a little bit of defense, maybe they can slow that Purple Hurricane down. We'll see. Oconee, maybe a little advantage being at home. That'll be a good one to keep your eyes on.
No doubt. And Oconee leads that series, 8 wins to 5 losses and 1 tie in that meeting. So a good friend over at Athens Christian this week, Coach Brooks, is traveling over to Jackson County to take on the Panthers. And both schools coming in at 1-1.
Yeah, and Athens Christian, weird stat here, they're outscoring their opponents 19-14 per game. Jackson County outscoring their opponents 19-14 per game. Something's got to give.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I'd like to see both those teams win, but I got to give a little nudge there to Coach Brooks in the.
Yeah, you got to think first ever meeting too. That'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Of course, our 8 5A games that we're going to be looking at this week. Of course, number 4 Gainesville coming in at 1-1, only lost to West Forsyth, traveling down to Winder to take on the Winder Bear Bulldogs.
Yeah, Winder Bears got their hands full with this bunch from Gainesville. These Red Elephants are feeling it now. They're feeling like they've got their offense figured out, and of course that quarterback, I think it's Deshaun Watson. He's going to Clemson. He's
real deal.
He is. He can. And he did it with his legs last week against Buford. Did it in the air against West Forsyth. So, Winebarrow got your hands full. Is all I can tell you.
And of course, Salem, a little rivalry game here over in Conyers. Salem at 1-1, taking on number 9 Heritage at Heritage, and they're off to a 2-0 start, Buster.
Yeah, and not much difference when you look at their common opponent in Rockdale. Salem beat them 28-7, Rockdale, and Heritage beat Rockdale 34-7 in week 2. So 2 teams, and we know that these crosstown rivals, it does not matter who's higher, who's lower. They go after each other, and the all-time series, look at there, Heritage leads 10-8.
Yeah, so it's a close, and both teams scoring about 22 points a game. So expecting a good, exciting ball game over there. If you're in the Conyers area, you want to check out Salem at Heritage. And, of course, the big one, another big one right here in town, number 10, Flowery Branch, coming in at 0-2, taking on the Cedar Shoals Jaguars over at the Jungle. And Cedar Shoals starting out 2-0 here, new season.
Yeah, this could be the game of the week in the region. It might be one of the game of the weeks in the state. Yeah. These are 2 programs, and I don't think they're going in opposite directions. I think Flowery Branch just had a very tough non-region schedule, and I think Cedar's moving up, and that's going to be a good game to watch. The Branches had their way with Cedar in the last two games, outscoring them 99-22. But I think this is a different bunch of Jaguars this year.
Well, there's definitely the new coach over there has definitely brought a new attitude, and hey, two big wins. I mean, they played Hart County and Elbert County, but two storied programs in AA and AAA, and
winning breeds confidence.
There's no doubt about it.
You know they're feeling it right now. This is a huge game at Cedar.
And of course, the GITV game of the week is going to be our own Clarke Central Gladiators coming in at 0-2. We're at home this week. Number 19, Clarke Central, taking on the Loganville Red Devils, coming in with a 1-1 start.
Yeah, and I think the key to this game, Chuck, is both of these teams having a little trouble on the defensive side of the ball. One of them is going to have to stop the other. And I'm scared we're going to get into another one of them shootouts. You and Coach Rouse touched on it earlier. Loganville seems to have a good game plan when they come to Clarke Central.
There's no doubt. You look back at the last 4 or 5 years, and this ball game has always been
close.
Into that fourth quarter has been a good ball game. I want to think back 5 or 6 years ago, and we kicked a 50-some-yard field goal to beat them in the last
overtime,
seconds.
I think.
Yeah,
yeah.
And of course, going over to Loganville last year and the 2 years before that, we lost over there 3 years ago, and then 2 years ago we were able to come away with the victory, but it was right there to the very end.
Always tough. And Loganville, I know for a fact during their 7-on-7s this year, one of the ones that Clarke Central participated in with them on, every time they'd break it down, they said the word Central. So it's like we've got a bullseye on our back with these guys. They're wanting to get us.
There's no doubt coming into the season back-to-back region champs. People are after Clarke Central, and we are held up as a measuring stick to a lot of these schools that want to get their programs back on the rise. And Loganville is growing every year, and good athletes over there. So it's always been a hard-hitting, physical ball game.
And we'll have a couple guys come out of that thing hurt, I guarantee you. That's because of what you just said, the hard licks.
Yeah.
Clarke leads the series all the time, 8-2. And in the last two meetings, Clarke has scored over 40 points per game. We're going to need probably another effort like that.
No doubt about it. Well, Buster, let's get into your GITV, the daily news, top stories, and I'm going to let you take it from here.
Yeah, well, what we felt like at GITV, our top 5 stories. At number 5, again, that Wind-the-Bear winning or losing streak's now grown to 26 games. Monroe destroyed Wind-the-Bear 58-14 last week, and I tell you, they got a big challenge this week, entertaining Gainesville.
Oh, Red Elephant's coming to town. That's going to be tough.
Going to be scary. Our number 4 GITV Daily News story of the week, we felt like goes to Cedar Shows, as the kid, Adrian Washington, ran for 207 yards to lead Cedar Shows to a 35-28 win, boosted them up to number 12 in the 5A standings, so we feel like Cedar gets the nod as our number 4 story of the week. At number 3, Flowery Branch suffers their second loss in a row, and that's got to have some head scratching up in Hall County and around the state as well. West Forsyth, the same team that beat Gainesville, beats Flowery Branch in a very close game, mind you, 21-14. Our number 2 story, and we're starting to see a guy develop right before our eyes, Clarke Central's own Rodney Willingham rushing for 245 yards on 27 carries, but the Gladiators still fell short up at the Castle this week, 45-42 losers to Central Gwinnett. And I'm going to let you read that number 1 story, Chuck, because I know how you feel about those guys up there.
Well, I tell you, you got a lot of respect for the Buford Wolves. We've scrimmaged them the last 2 years, and, of course, that's our GITV number 1 news story of the week. Gainesville Red Elephants come into Buford and take out the Buford Wolves 19-15. And Buford has been a perennial power in AA, but you've got to list them nationally as a top-ranked team, and definitely within the state year in and year out. And that is a huge win for Gainesville to go into the University of Buford, as they call it, and come away with a 19-15 win.
First ever victory for Gainesville over Buford. And I think they've missed 4 times in a row, but they finally get it on the 5th try. And I'm sure they celebrated for a long time at Gainesville Saturday and Sunday.
And, of course, the quarterback, Watson, not only does he have a big night throwing the ball, but he rushed for 113
Yeah, just
yards.
incredible guy. You know, you can see why Clemson likes this kid.
And looking forward to seeing this young man play, but I really don't want to see him play against us. But,
good thing we got a bunch of games between now and then. Maybe he'll take a lick.
No doubt about it. So, Buster, a big week around 8-5A is the top 5 stories right there. And as you can see, a lot of talent in this region with likes of Watson and Willingham and Washington over at Cedar Shoals and Flowery Branch with the Curry young man up there is another good athlete. So
well, a lot of storylines starting to develop. And I tell you, the biggest, scary storyline of them all, nobody wants to be Wanda Barrett's opponent right now because you know they're going to get a win sooner or later.
Sooner or later,
who's it going to be against?
That's exactly
It's going to be scary.
So we enter 8-5A and we open up region play this week. Once again, Loganville coming to town to take on the Gladiators. And Cedar Shoals and Flowery Branch, as we discussed. So a lot of great games around the area. Make sure you check somebody's high school football game out. And right now, Buster, let's go into the GITV Players of the Week. And, of course, offensive GITV Player of the Week.
Yeah,
hard decision.
Rodney Willingham again. 247 yards on 27 carries, scored a touchdown, but all night long was running north and south on Central Gwinnett. And as Coach Riles said earlier, he's a fine young man. He's got a great sense of humor, and I think he's one of those key parts now of this Clarke Central team that's going to try to hold things
really
together.
Developing every week.
Every week, getting stronger.
Looking stronger, yeah, no doubt about it. And, of course, our GITV Defensive Player of the Week had a big night, not only on defense but on special teams. And
2 interceptions again. Drico Statham taking off where he left off from last year with his 7 interceptions for a total last year. It put him third on the all-time Clarke Central list. He's off to a good start again. And Drico had a lot of key plays on defense that stalled some Central Gwinnett drives. And another fine senior deserving of our GITV Player of the Week honor.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for Buster and I today on the GITV Football Forecast Show. Of course, we want to remind everybody once again, right here at Clarke Central High School and Billy Henderson Stadium, Friday night, 7:30 start. Where Buster and I will be on the air around 7:15, and hope you tune in and watch the ball game. And anywhere you're close to, please go by and check out your local high school football game anywhere in the area. So for our executive producer, Dr. John Ward, and our sponsors, Athens Chevrolet, Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, the Morris Center, and, of course, Bulldog Signs, I'm Chuck Wegman and Buster Crumpton, and we'll see you next week right here on GITV.